Hello, good morning everyone. How are you all today? My name is Hussein and I'm back again to bring you all the weekly review on how the market was and actually what were the major important events that actually happened within this week, how the market has been and what did we learn and achieve from this week. Alright, starting off the 8th of June 2020, we had an ECB President Lagarde speech, which we had the monetary policy announcement and also a little bit of clue on this direction on this Eurozone economy, how they will be doing more purchasing, or how would they be actually, either they're going to purchase more bonds or either they are going to actually pump in more money in a way to stimulate the economy. Alright, so we had these comments from the ECB which was related to the previous week as well, and then we had also GDP numbers from Eurozone which was in the green. That means it was turned to be positive. This is why overall euro has been strengthening throughout the week, right? Then we had consumer price index CPI number which was stagnant and not lower, not higher. And then we also had consumer price index year on year which was on the red zone from the US, right? So the most important event that actually the investors were looking at was the Fed interest rate decision, right? So in the Fed interest rate decision, what did they do? They left the rates unchanged, and at the same time, Jerome Powell said that the economy is expected to grow next year. They expect about 5% GDP to grow in 2021, and they expect that in 2022 up till 2022 they want to maintain the interest rates to the zero level, right? This is why to this comment market has taken note into the Fed will be doing all it can in a way to stabilize the economy or in a way to boost the economy towards its growth. Then we had producer price index which was into the green as well, and then for today, and also initial jobless claims were actually much better compared to the previous week. So see, there are signs that economy is like somehow like getting back, not of course to like how it was before, like before the COVID-19, but it is coming out of the major problem that we saw in March, April and May. Then as for today, we have got a data coming out from the Great Britain pound, from England, which will be having an impact on all the GBP pairs. That is the GDP, right? Month on month and year on year. We see that is very much likelihood that it's going to be to the downside. All right. So the overall review to share with you also on the stock market. All right, as we see that you see the US stocks sold off for the third consecutive day in a row towards the end of the week. All right, and also last night losses was a bit grim. It was a bit more sharp compared to the other one. Why? Because you see there is a rumor that is going on that a lot of states are actually reopening, right? And they are having a bit of fear that what if the second wave of virus increases. All right, now to share with you, there are also many of the agencies, medical departments that are actually reaching to the final stage of the trial of the vaccine, and we see that sooner than later there will be a positive news that will boost the sentiment of the investors, and that will also boost the confidence to go long in the market for the longer term. But of course, we can always analyze that with the help of price action analysis. You see, US dollar sharply traded higher as a safe haven yesterday, all right? And also, as we see that, like the sell-off in USD JPY and USD CHF are consistent with the slide and in the stock market, and also weekly jobless claims from the US side, like I mentioned earlier, and the producer price index had a very little impact on the greenback, right? So all in all, you see jobless claims were slightly lower, like I mentioned earlier, compared to before, right? And also the University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Index is scheduled for release for today, which is going to be today, and that also you see will be having a bit of mixture of this events in a way to give the direction also in the stock market and also in the direction of the stocks on the US dollar. Now you see given the rally in the stock market, right, and also the states reopening, like I mentioned earlier, like the investors might be having a bit of confusion about what it could be. What if, let's say, the market may not be, you see, going into what they expect, but what they are expecting it to be. But however, how we can actually get towards our answers, how we can actually get to know what it could be, and how you can actually look ahead towards your analysis and all that. We can actually look into the price action. For example, like right in front of me is Dow Jones Industrial Average. While I was doing an analysis yesterday that, of course, looking at the current structure, there could be a retracement coming over from here. Now, even though there is a retracement coming over, the price still remains in between this channel up. Right from here, it still remains in between this channel. So I see that even if at all it's going to drop a bit more, that is what the third level from here is going to bounce up. Right? So all in all, overall, I still see there is a positive signs that remain intact. So the confidence for you to know about how would that be. So try to understand this price action. So when I see this price action, that means what is the world overall thinking. Of course, there's always a good news and always a bad news, right? But overall, I still see that this market will form new highs. Microsoft, all right, as you see for Microsoft, we had a nice rally up, and after it had actually came back to drop back to these levels where it broke the previous resistance. So I see that over here, you see that what it could be is going to drop down and then find its way back up again, right? So that's a bit of view for you to share with you on the market. But overall, this week the market has been extremely bullish. Only at the end of the day, at the last day and the second last day of the week, the market actually took a reversal of retracement, right? So all in all, I like I mentioned earlier, this could be a corrective structure that is happening now. We're gonna still see this market to make new highs, right? So looking ahead for USD CAD pair, I see that like you see, this is due to the strength of American dollar. It has actually bounced up, and I see that it has a potential to reach up to these levels, which is very much likelihood. And then we will see what we need to do next from this level. Might be coming down again, right? So all in all, a very exciting week. Like so for Euro USD, I see that market has pushed really up. Now to reach this verified resistance test count 1, we see that if not this week, I mean of today is the last day of the week, we will see that this pair will be at least coming back to this level next week, right? So all in all, this is what the euro has been doing, and that's what we are seeing, the current structure. There's too much of fundamental news going on, there's too much of speculation. So all in all, I see that now if we're looking at for GBP USD, like today we have got a data which is from England, right? As you could see there, the market is finding its way down now, because I see that it has broken very major channel, which opens the wave or opens the room for it to the downside. Beautiful. And over here I see that after the today's news, even there could be a bit of spike up, a corrective structure. We're gonna see this prayer to find more direction, a more room to the downside. All right, so all in all, very volatile week, interesting week. We got lots to learn within this week, and I believe that every week the new updates, every week the new forecast, every week the new setup is adding a lot more information, education, and also the awareness about the market for you, right? I'm gonna sign up now, all right, and I will be seeing you guys next week again. Have a great weekend ahead. Bye bye.